live and inclusive. Um, Thought I'd come on for an hour to see if we got anybody out here tonight. So we're gonna talk about some things, see what's going on. Um, I just put a video out, and we're gonna do some talking tonight for an hour. 1 hour. So I'm gonna do. Just want to see if anybody's out here live and in color. Do this thing real quick. See if anybody wants to come on here and give me a chat. We can get into some conversation tonight. See what we got out here. Let's see. See how y'all doing out here. Start this poll question up real quick. We'll start on the football tip. I'm gonna be here for if I see anybody come through here, I'll be here for at least an hour and a half. If not, I'll cut it down. I got some content to work on, but I thought I'd come on here just to see how people are doing, see how they feeling, see what the haps are. So we'll see what's shaking. See how everybody's doing tonight. See what's like out there. Yeah, I did my roundup on NFL for football fans. So I'm gonna save the Bills and the Jets game for the next tomorrow. Do that later. But I wanted to get the week 6 bulk of it out the way. Of course, I had to talk about them Cowboys. Ooh, brutal. Detroit put that Clubber Lang on them. If you ever seen Raging Bull, you remember Jack Lamar, Sugar Ray Robinson? That's what happened to the Cowboys. They got pummeled bad, 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 bad. Now, the Lions got me wondering. Tom Brady says the best team he's seen. They look good. Dan Campbell won me over last year, and they are a true contender. Now they're in one arguably the toughest division in football because you got the Packers you got to worry about. You have Minnesota who's undefeated, and Chicago. Caleb Williams is coming on offense, so you got a dogfight over there. So are they the best team going in the NFL right now? And they arguably in the toughest division because let me look around. The NFC East ain't that tough. The NFC West ain't that tough. The NFC South was corny. The AFC East is a joke. The West is a one-sided affair. The South, the North, still think it's Baltimore's to run. So, yeah, they're in arguably the toughest division in the NFL. So, are the Lions the team to beat? I know this is on short notice, so if I will be coming back sometime later in the week. Thought I'd come on here, do a football quick take, see if I catch any people up on the way. Bills got a huge game tonight. They gotta beat the Jets. It's a must. The Jets gotta beat the Bills. It is a must for two different reasons. The Bills gotta win because they got lost 2 straight games, and they owe the Jets another beat down. And Aaron Rodgers, and they gotta be ready for it. And they got a new coach and all that. Jets gotta win because Aaron Rodgers and everything. What's up? What's up? Coming on here tonight, football night. Thought I would do some quickie, and I'll be here for an hour. I got some videos I'm working on, but I definitely want to come through tonight. It's Monday Night Football, Buffalo Bill night, so I want to see what's up. And I got the question all lined up. Please hit the like too. Got the question already lined up. At 47-9 is pretty impressive, even though that's pretty impressive. Well, who did you lose? What was your one loss? Who's your one loss so far? Who's your one loss? I want to know who your one loss was. Because I did my football, I did the video, And who did you lose? You got to tell me who you thought was going to lose that you picked that lost. Who was that one loss? Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you a story. After that game against Philadelphia, they don't hit like they did no more. Cause Philly went in there and pretty much turned the knobs down. Alvin Kamara wasn't running like that in car. They really ain't been the same since that game against Philly. Shaquan ran all over him. So they really between spanking Dallas and losing to Philly is kind of where their peak came and went, if you want my honest opinion. I don't know if Tampa Bay's that good though. It wasn't because of Baker. They ran on them, and of course, New Orleans made some mistakes. They actually was just they got sloppy. It was 27-24 at halftime, so it's not like you know, I mean, don't get excited. Don't get excited for Tampa Bay. You did give up almost a 30 burger by halftime. You just that New Orleans ain't got no quarterback and New Orleans don't play no defense and they got sloppy and they can't tackle with much. Don't get excited. If you are a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, you are a good second tier team. Let's not get it twisted. You don't belong with the top tiers. Baker's doing good enough, but you're not top tier. That did not change my mindset yesterday. Well, Brissett is a third tier quarterback who can play second tier and by default has to be a first tier. So when you're three heads of tiers, what does that mean in English? You're not that memorable. I like him personally. And he will win you a couple of games, right? But you better not have him there more than 5 games because if you got him more than 5 games, you're going to get these results. He doesn't throw a lot of touchdowns. He doesn't really lose a lot of games because he's, you know, no, they suck. They don't have no receiver, no. They still got beat yesterday. They still got dealt with. And before you get excited about Drake Maine, they still gave up a 41 burger to Houston, lost by 20 points. So don't get too excited. They're trying to tank. Think they're gonna look at Mr. Sanders on the low. That's the word I'm hearing. They tanking for real. They're not that good. Brissett gives you what he do. He's a true game manager. Only if they finish ahead of Baltimore. Only, only, only. Finish ahead of Baltimore, you might be on to something. But they got to finish ahead of that because you know Lamar's gonna be putting some crazy numbers up. You already know. But I do like his game though. I you know, poise, and he's only getting better. So, but beat New England don't count. You better stat pad against them. I like Mayo all right, but that's a no-win situation there. You don't have a quarterback, you don't have no offense. Your defense is pretty good to keep you, they'll keep it usually to about 20 points a game. They just don't have nothing. They don't have that. They don't have those horses. So it's not a good team. They stink. Your division is the best. That's why I got the poll question right now because I'm looking at everything. And you got the who's who. Minnesota's undefeated. Detroit's scary. The Packers are there, and Chicago got an offense. So with their defense, so yeah, it's no joke. It's no joke. Somebody could come out of the division and do the thing. Because I was on that Packer forum, and one of the Pack cats said that if the Packers could stay healthy, they could have a deep run. And I believe you. I believe it. I think they can. I think that's the toughest division going right now. Easily, easily. Because I'm hard pressed to find another division that's even close to it. Help me if you can. Don't tell me about the NFC least because Washington, Philly can probably end up taking it, but I'm not impressed. The West is all about the 49ers. Don't kid yourself. NFC South, Atlanta might be interesting. Tampa Bay, I don't know. It's no. Yeah, you got the talent. You got the talent. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. I told you if things had gone right last year, y'all would have been playing Detroit for the NFC Championship game last year. Said that already. And I ain't stutter. Should have beat Frisco, and Detroit shouldn't have played all cute against Frisco. Both y'all could have beaten them. So, just saying. AFC, you already know. Excuse me, Kansas City, Baltimore, and then, maybe the Bills. I don't know, but, you see how these things are playing out. Got some people in here to, well, not a lot views so far, but we're going to see. But I definitely got a lot more. We're going to see what's up. Anyway, give me the two great receivers. I'm going to tell you why. The five corpse is gimmick ball with one great one. The two great receivers you saw with Duper and Clayton with Miami, you saw with Bruce and with the Rams. You know, the two great receivers, Reggie Wayne and also Marvin Harrison with the Colts. You'd like to have that. You'd like to have that. Now, if you've got an offense that has a great running back or receiver and a tight end, that's even better. And a great quarterback. That's what Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill were like. So that's what you'd want to have. Five receiver thing is gimmick ball. I've seen people do that, but that usually means you don't have one. So I'd get the two great receivers. Because you get fooled by how, you look at one of them, excuse me, and you think, oh, he's second tier or he's not there. And it makes me think about Swan and Stalwart. Lynn Swan made so many acrobatic catches, people thought he was actually as good as John Stallworth, and Stallworth was the one that was really the one. That's the dynamics at work. That's when you can make it. Or you can do it like the 49ers did. Jerry Rice was so great that John Taylor was very good. Yeah, they have. And they've in those 30 years, they've been to three Super Bowls and won two. So you tell me, you know, how would you equate their success? If you're a Green Bay Packer fan, do you think it's worked in its favor or has it been or they've underachieved? I just want to know. Packer fans can answer that question. Two rings to show for it with two different quarterbacks. Yeah, that's how I look at it. Because I mean, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers' resume, with all them regular season MVPs and his Super Bowl MVP. I mean, not Super Bowl, well for Aaron, but not for probably one Super Bowl. And you would think they'd have about three rings each. You think they've been to like 6, 7 Super Bowls, some crazy numbers, and that's not the case. Yep. That's all I'm trying to say. They've underachieved. Anybody coming on tonight, feel free to come on in. We're taking all different kinds of questions. Well, the 2014 should hurt you because all you had to do was just be average that day. I can understand the way you lost to Brady because Brady hit them big passes deep. I understood that, but Russell Wilson was horrible, and Seattle was flat. So I don't know. I don't know, but I remember that 2014, and it didn't end well. Yeah, and it's the way Eli did it too. Put your butt to sleep. The things that Eli do. He's getting better with each week, and they've got good talent. And the thing about it is, their defense is accountable. Their special teams is accountable. They're playing like they playing like a team on the come up. They look like they're, you know, so, if they can weather some of the storms, it could be a problem. I don't know about this year, but ain't gonna be no easy outs in the NFC North. Let's just say that. You got 4 competitive teams. I think everybody could be a problem. Yeah. So that's how I look at the Bears. All right now. Yeah, I did that video. Did you see my video? Did you see the video I did? And I was like, whoa. Because Oregon never wins those kind of games. They'll lose them. And y'all never lose like that this early. You don't lose like that. But, and that's the other team I told you about, Penn State. Penn State. I talked about it in both the video. Penn State beat SC. They usually lose. So Franklin got them. I'm telling you, strange. And but you know what? It ain't over for you though, because I know there's gonna be a one loss team. They're gonna find a way to have Ohio State, Penn State, Alabama. Somebody gonna be knocking on that door for the final. So don't cry right now. If you win every game out like I think you are, and you're probably gonna stomp a mud hole through Michigan, and Penn State will actually beat them, I think you got your chance. I don't think you're done. Just don't lose another game. You lose another game, you're gonna be the outside looking in. You get one loss and you still crack. Don't lose another game. But Penn State thing shocked me more than y'all lost though, because they shouldn't have won that game. SC blew it 3 different ways. So that's a big win for Penn State. You mean to take the C off of it, okay? Take the C off of it. That's what you meant to say. It's a joke. If you're a Georgia fan and you lose that one game to Bama, and that's the only team that's beat you the last, what, 5 some years, you think about it. Yeah. No, they keep you in the playoffs because they make sure that you're in the top 5 or 6. They won't let you fall out. Let that be in Michigan, we fall away to like 12 or something. So when they don't like you and you lose a game, your butt mysteriously rolls. Well, I think again because they know Bama lost the game. That's what you got going for you. You're considered in the same tier as Bama. But if you lose again, you're gonna go below. Excuse me. Ah, we'll see how it plays out though. But college football has been off the chart so far this year. I've been very impressed. Very, very impressed. I didn't think I would be, but I have been. Yeah. SC done had heartbreaks. Because they could have beaten Michigan and they could have beaten Penn State. That's gonna be the difference between them. If they get a bowl, that's it. Not finishing. Oregon's always tough. Yeah. And Michigan, I mean, the Washington Huskies got smashed by Iowa. Bad. Brutal. 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 They are. That they don't have to play Alabama. I did do that video about old Kirby though. Grabbing the Mississippi State quarterback on the sidelines. That video is out. So if you get a chance, peep it out. I didn't like that shove on the sidelines. But Georgia is legit. Georgia is legit. See what I got real quick. Mhm. Got something. Just looking around, looking around. You think Marshall Nugget? Of course it was. You know I'm gonna say it was. Why? Was somebody asking about it? Was somebody asking about it? Or you just asking me out of your own mindset? He said, I don't want to get fined. I'm gonna spend so yeah, because they was trying to hype Russell Wilson up. Russell crossover, quarterback, the head coach. Seattle, I live near the place. Very artificial. Don't really like to be too threatening. Oh, okay. Well, okay. Yeah, I lived there. I lived near there. And the brothers didn't feel Russell. Michael Bennett was taking knees and he spoke off for Colin Kaepernick. Sherman, even though he's intellectualized, brother, and Earl Thomas and them. Earl Thomas, you saw what he did to Pete Carroll when he came off they despised that romance between the quarterback and the head coach. And they were divided. And Marshawn was outspoken. Marshawn said, I don't want to get fined. Marshawn, but you want to know the funny story? If you were in Seattle, if you watch Seattle commercials right now, Marshawn Lynch got more commercials than almost anybody who's associated with that team in the last 15, 20 years. And he left there in a better predicament than Russell Wilson. Some people didn't care for Russell. I'd rather think that Pete Carroll lost a gambling tab to Robert Kraft or something than to be that idiotic. Nobody in Seattle wants to talk about that Super Bowl. Nobody believed what they saw. It was like the play that you couldn't imagine, that you couldn't even imagine that someone would be so to do that. Now, in my mind, I read between the lines. They were going to give a touchdown to Marshawn. Because after you made that catch, that throw that the curse caught that ball with his legs and his feet, Seattle should have won that Super Bowl. And you saw the look of horror on Richard Sherman's face. They were dejected. They were one play away from having a dynasty, as opposed to being a 1 year wonder. So, yeah, I think Marshawn definitely. I would definitely say he was. I definitely because again, Pete Carroll is a small a shark, and he's a good used car salesman. And that would have done wonders for Russell Wilson. At that point, Russell Wilson had incredible record against all these teams. Imagine him with 2 rings and then a Super Bowl MVP. Yep, they did. They did. They did. That's what it was about. It was politicking. Russell had a crossover look. He was accessible. No, he can be dumb at times. He can just be dumb. because he did the same thing in SC. Remember, he gave White that ball on 4th and 1, and you got Reggie Bush and Matt Liner, and you gave and Vince Young was just ready to. I mean, he has been notorious for giving gifts away. That's why he's Christmas Carol. But it was done with an agenda. They much rather have lost that game than to do than the right thing. There are people who do stuff like that. I ain't forgot nothing because I remember I watched him at SC. I ain't forgot nothing. My memory be pretty good. My memory pretty good. I remember this. That's why he got the nickname Christmas Carol because he been known to be jolly old jolly A Santa Claus when you didn't ask him to be Santa Claus. Mr. Rah Rah, happy go lucky. But then he has those tendencies to just be a little too happy go lucky. And you kind of look at him strange. And they never were the same after that Super Bowl. 2 rings, we're talking about him in a two different totality. Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll, we're looking at them as a precursor to Mahomes and to Andy Reid. But it ain't happening. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. And when they got rid of Marshawn, they stunk. So they'll put you like this. Even if you win that Super Bowl, you Russell Wilson, people don't you're a Hall of Famer, it's a no doubter. Now you got some people that's saying, well, you get in. They're not saying no doubt, they say you'll get in eventually. There's a big difference. Yeah, because Joe Montana knows what he's talking about. But again, that was not the right intentions, and that's why they lost. He's trying to be cute, throw the ball on somebody's hip. What a ding dong, what a dummy. Yeah, Linda White, I never got that SC game. And that was the greatest college football game I've ever seen in my life, too, to this day. And that was a stupid play, too. And Vince Young tore their butt up. I didn't listen to what that turkey said because I don't want to hear nothing he got to say. He mad because he couldn't stat pad the 250 yards and throw a token touchdown. That's what he mad about. He wasn't mad he got his butt toe up. He couldn't get to 250 or 300 yards. Like he like the stat pad be like 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and they down by 35 points and he mysteriously gets these 2 token touchdowns and then he's like, oh, I came close, and he throws 4 picks and gets sacked by 8 times and he throws a couple touchdowns and he gets close to 300 yards and he's stat padding and he's like, oh well, I tried hard. No, they got Clubber Lang last night. Brutal. Brutal. And I ain't seen them get waxed like that since they stunk. He's happy. I told you, get out, Prescott. Get out. Get out. Like the movie, Get Out, Prescott. And I did my video because I couldn't wait to do it last night. Oh, Mike McCarthy. They suck. And the thing about it is this, they gonna have more of this coming. 40 burgers is coming. They getting towed up at home for everybody to see. That was a massacre yesterday. I mean, that was one of the worst humiliating losses I've ever seen because Detroit was doing all kinds of counter plays, getting behind them. Cooper Rush comes in and he throws a nice pass, except for the wrong team. I mean, just men against boys. Like they had no business being out there. They look like Bronny James. That's what the Cowboys looked like last night. Got their milk money, lunch money, breakfast, and then all took left and right. So just embarrassing. That's what Jerry Jones gets though. Happy birthday, Jerry Jones. Because he sucks. He's gonna get ate up on high screen pick and rolls. He's scared to shoot. He travels all the time. He can't bunny hop like his daddy because he don't have them kind of hind parts. He ain't built like that. So he bunny hops. The refs are on his left leg. Watch how they call it. He stutter steps and he hops. he gonna get called for traveling. He too scared to shoot outside. He shoots like he's afraid that he gonna miss and not draw iron. He doesn't have a touch. So you make his knees buckle, starts walking. Can't play no defense. And he gonna get roasted. Yep, self-check. You play 21. I tell her all the time. That's what we used to do. We used to play 21. It's all that one dude. You self-check. We out there fighting underneath the rim. We out there beating each other up. So you just go out there and shoot your little heart out. We treat you like how they used to treat Jason Kidd and Ray John Rondo. He was self-check. I watched pro guys. They did the Russell Westbrook too. Say he ain't gonna make nothing. If he makes 4 shots, put a hand on him. Other than that, let him shoot them 2 or 3. That's the diss track. That's a diss track. You self-check. Treating you like it's you at Texaco. Get the Texaco treatment. That's what Bronny gonna get too. Yeah, because then it becomes 5-on-4 in the paint. Got 5 guys pounding the glass. They got extra rebounders because they know that brick's coming. They know that brick's coming or a air ball. He ain't cut for no NBA. He ain't cut for it. He needs about a couple years in the G League. And then he needs to come off the bench by year 3 if he gets up to the big side, come off the bench. And he gotta build some weight on him. If I was Bronny James, you know who I'd go to build myself up? I'd tell him go to Andrew Wiggins. That's the only reason maybe that Golden State thing would have made some sense because of his body type. That's what he need to do. But that's your team, though. That's your team. Good luck with JJ Redick. Ridiculous. JJ Ridiculous. Good luck with that. I'd much rather have a plumber, milkman, custodian, janitor, um, uh, gardener than to be stuck with self check. Yeah, you tell JJ Ridiculous I said that. Give me the plumber and the air conditioned man and the milkman over the self check man any day on the basketball court. Any day. And twice on Sunday. Because you won't last long as a coach or a player in the league with that mess, especially in this day and time, too. Because they don't play no defense and you can't even you can't make no shots. You know, self check, self check. At least with a scrub will actually hit the wood. They give you something. You self-check, they don't never put a hand on you. Scrub might actually have one moment where he make a shot. He'll make about 2 or 3 buckets because it's a scrub moment. You're coming in mop up time. That's what mop up time. So you can stat a little bit. That's worse because you actually say, well, I'm gonna make this shot. No, you're not. And I'm gonna tell you something. We could do this as a topic in here if you want to. Patrick Beverly used to be self-checked too. He started making them threes, but it wasn't always the case. See, I've been watching these cats. I remember, I tell you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now you can act like you got game if you self-check, if you post up, or you can pass the ball, or you can, play some defense. You can get away with it. But when we know you self-check, and you know who else was self is Draymond. Draymond Green. I'm gonna call him out. Because that finals against Boston, what was it after game 3? They ain't even bothered. That's why Steve Kerr said, bring your butt over here and sit down. Self-check, bring your butt over. That's the reality. Self-check. Rudy Gobert is self-check. He's scared to score points. Ben Simmons be self-check too. When you know what D Rose, when he hit that brick, maybe he hit that bowling ball brick against Cleveland in the playoffs with that 3-pointer, he shot that hard brick and he went in off a bank shot that won that one game. And then that's what he finally learned how to shoot. It took him like 15 years though. That's my only knock against D Rose. He didn't have outside J. Took him a long time. Took him a long time. He finally got it. He finally got it. But it took some time though. And he had an outside J when he had all those acrobatic moves. Cause I used to say he reminded me like a cross between D Wade and Iverson, where he would swirl and twirl. acrobatic in that lane. He could do it. Now, he had those teardrops. The only problem that got Tony Parker in trouble was like when they played the Lakers and Kobe and them went flinch on him. Sometimes he hiccup and sometimes he tried to do too much. But he had a teardrop shot. That was the most frustrating shot. But that guy hit that float on you. Um, no, his was more because of his he shot, you know, but he was in Pop's doghouse though. They wanted Jason Kidd. So no, he wasn't self-checked. First of all, you couldn't play for the Spurs and be a star and be self-checked. That was a no-no. That you mentioned there was a one cat that was on the center of them. They got rid of his butt. You couldn't be with Pop and you couldn't shoot. That was a no-no. Well, let me tell you something. Successful teams, they don't be dealing with self-check. Think about it. The teams winning multiple rings, self-check is not unless of course you are a body. You put a body in there and you can do other things. That's another story. But if you can't shoot at all, then I got no time for no self-check. Mm-mm. Not the winning teams don't. Yeah, I'd rather you'd rather be a scrub than self-check. The scrubs have a moment, but you self-check, no one respects your game. They gonna sit there and say, "Yeah, shoot to your heart's content." Ain't gonna be nobody gonna give you no love. Mm-mm. And see, that's the problem with all these cats that you're seeing. Yeah, well, okay. Self-check at quarterback means that you just can't read the field like you're Jameson Winston. That's why Jameson won't get no job over Deshaun Watson. Deshaun right now is scrubbing, but Jameson is self-check. There you go. Great example. Scrub, self-check. There you go. Cleveland. There you go. Right there. Right there. You agree with that one? Deshaun Watson, scrub, Jameson Winston, self-check. We have no quarterback. That's why we suck, and we can't trust neither one of these turkeys, and we in trouble. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, because that means that they know that you ain't gonna do jack. They know that if I rattle you, you can't beat me any other way. So if your team don't have no if we get up a 10-point lead and your team can't play no defense, you're done. You're done. We could do a whole lot of them on NFL quarterbacks. You know who be you know who they be. Shoot. Even though they'll tell you he's a scrub, I think Daniel Jones is self-check. Yep. Got a new tier level. And if you are and self-check takes a life of its own, but yeah, yeah. That's the worst thing you can be. And it's more noticeable in basketball. But there's football. He is now. He is now. He wasn't the case, but yeah, I'm afraid because should he really be behind Justin Fields? Think about it. Think about it. Should he really be behind him? And if you got the resume Russell Wilson, Andy Dalton gets to still play. You gonna tell me that Russell Wilson ain't capable of playing over Randy? Yeah. No, it's worse than a scrub. It's worse. It's worse. It's worse. Deshaun Watson is a scrub, but he can play a bit. He'll throw a touchdown or do something. Self check means I don't trust you at all. I don't. I will leave you alone. I'll let you sit there. Like brisket for the Patriots is self check. Worse than scrub. Yes. 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 Because that means a scrub is like, oh, he sucks, but he had one moment. Self check. Nobody gonna. They gonna leave you alone. They gonna leave you alone. Imma leave you alone. I'm not worried about you. Go on out there. See what happens. Okay, you wanna hear it again? A scrub is Trevor Lawrence. Self-check is Mac and Cheese Jones. Is that better for you? Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference between that? If the Deshaun Watson Jameson one didn't hit for you, because you could always throw the fact that Jameson had 30 touchdown passes. Okay, so maybe Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones. Does that make sense? That's the scrub to self-check. Mac and cheese ain't getting no please. Ain't nobody gonna put his behind out there unless they tried that. It don't work. He self-check. I'm trying to tell you. That's self-check right there. Mac and Cheese Jones is self-check. And there's tears to this. I know somebody gonna say, well, they play pro ball, they this, they that. I'm like, no, not all guys are cut the same. But you can go around different forums and ask them. You can use what we say in here. I ain't got no problem with it. I'll defend the scrub over self-check any day. Any day. Cause you self-check. You just oof. Okay now. Oh, you know when you see one, I'm not saying that you're not seeing them, but when you self-check, all you gotta do is watch games when cats be all frail and back, looking for rebound, and they don't and the guy's out there by himself. They 5 feet off of him. They not even worried about him. Most cats that were bums on the pro level actually may have had a moment to get to the pro level. But when you self-check, that's a skill set that it's like it's glaring. It's glaring. You can't shoot. We don't respect nothing you do. We're not even gonna turn around at you. We just gonna whatever. That's the diss track. Okay, I got a few more people in here now, so feel free to come on through. Keep hitting those likes up. Keep hitting those likes up. Everybody came in so far said Detroit Lions are the best team. Okay. They know. They already know. They know. It's a joke too. It's a joke. When Kurt Rambis used to come in for the Lakers at garbage time, it was like it was a joke. It's the joke. Well, what's it? Wiley Serbiak, all that great hype and all that mess. I mean, there's always one. Good and well, that ain't got no business being where it is, but it's it's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. And we hope the Bills can win tonight. I need to win tonight. Hopefully. This a big game. They better not. I'm looking at, to be honest with you, the Jets offense is self-check. Aaron Rodgers is in that scrub era of his career. So you gotta make them pay. Okay, if anybody's coming through, we're gonna see if anybody's coming through. Pretty low key night, but again, see anybody's gonna come through. Hope everybody's having a good day. Yeah, well, yeah. Did you see the interception last week? Did you see the pick six? Yeah, he's not the dude he was. Am I supposed to sit here and lie and say, "Oh, the great Aaron Rodgers, he's busted, yo." Well, that pick six was a bad pick he threw, and the hits he took. He needs some of that LeBron James drink or something, cause in it ain't working for him. He's looking broken, busted. Well, it's been on him. He's been ineffective. When they beat up on some scrub teams, he throws a couple nice passes and but he's not the same dude, yo. It's not the same. It's not the same. This will be a make or break game for him against the Bills. If they come up big time, he'll have some hype. If they lose, it's almost time he should consider giving it up. Because it's make or break. And that 4 losses would be devastating for him. So Jordan Love is I told you, I tried to tell you last year, give him some time, he gonna cook. I like Jordan Love. Just need some time and some seasoning, that's all. It's some big shoes to fill. But he gonna be all right though. I do, but I think he's in the wrong situation. I think Arizona is just not cutting it. I think he got a lot to offer. I just think he's in the wrong situation. I'm surprised Pittsburgh didn't try to go after him. Cleveland wished they could. The Jets would have been better if they had have. New England show could use him. The Raiders could use him. Sean Payton, if he wasn't so funny time, but Kyle ain't gonna go for that. Kyler got a lot of options of teams that could use him. Because Kyler still got something there. It just ain't being utilized the right way. That's all. They might have to make that move. If they don't, they gonna lose Tyreek. And that's the only thing that's gonna save old boy's job too. He gonna get fired too. They suck. They got no defense. Their gimmick is almost up. They didn't cut their last rug. I watched the Dolphins and they look pathetic. They let Tennessee spank on them. There's nothing there. And I like Hartley. Heatley's a nice high third tier, low second string quarterback. He ain't no starter though. And it's to his components, it's too much that's there. But their gimmick is about up. They've been playing gimmick ball long enough. Yeah. But you see, being a good backup today means that you're really a third tier quarterback. That's what that means. Let me explain something. You don't have a cavalcade of what we call a lot of great quarterbacks. So if you're a good backup today, you're really a third tier. You should be ready to come in today because it's more prorated than ever. Unless you plan on having a Tyrod Taylor 25-year window or Ryan Fitzpatrick tour. Some guys get that luxury. I don't think it's gonna happen to a lot of brothers though. But I'm just saying. But Miami, the gimmicks is up. Don't play no defense. And Tua stuff is predicated on a lot of hits and goals. So a lot of yaks and runs with Tyreek and Waddle. You ain't got the right personnel for that, and you're not beating them with the ground. you're not gonna do much. No one's scared about them. So that's what's up with them. Not that good. Not that good. I liked him all right in Baltimore, but he should have been a backup for Miami, and he ain't doing much. I'm not impressed with him in Miami. And he actually got more weaponry in Miami. So that's why I say third tier. You got Tyreek Hill. That's all you gotta do though. What's up? What's up? The notifications as Ted will tell you, you gotta kind of be like kind of loose because it's pretty bad. I mean, these streets be kind of funny, but I'm glad you're here now. Well, they're doing what New England did. Andy Reid didn't learn from Belichick. He used to couldn't save games. Now he can't. He can't. He can't win enough. He's winning. So that's how you win, yo. They win in different ways. It don't have to be pretty. Believe me, it just shows you how dominant they are. Start stockpiling rings, just win. All right, Jay Will, what's up? Let's get into some conversation. Stuff went out and I'm having some technical situations, but I'm here now. Oh, Mike McCarthy. You didn't get embarrassed. You got slaughtered. It's like, do you even bother playing the rest of the season? I mean, really? I mean, and you got too many ain't gots. You got no running game. You can't stop the run. You can't stop the. I want to know. I think Stevie Wonder saw Detroit secondary better than y'all did. I'm just saying. I don't even know. You got Clubber Lang. If you ever seen Rocky 3, the way Clubber Lang was hitting Rocky, that's what happened to you. You got smashed over and over and over and over and over again. And Dan Campbell was playing Harlem Globetrotters on you, clowning you, trying everybody to get in on the touches. They just played with you, toyed with you. It's like they had that game circled. They should have stopped it at halftime. Should have thrown in the white towel when it's 27-6. 'Cause aside from that kickoff return, that's the only thing Dallas was able to really do, and it was embarrassing. But it's coming, and it's only fitting, and then more to come. It's gonna be more greatest hits coming 'cause, if you're a great or a good team and you go to Dallas, he been needed to retire. But that ego, man, that ego, that arrogance and that smug got the best of him, and he's stuck with a quarterback he really don't want. He's kinda stuck with the meathead too, but that's gonna change, though. They didn't quit on Meathead, and I've been trying to tell you that Meathead is overrated. I ain't turned 82 today, but get beat up like that, he gonna be 192. Keep getting beat up like that, which I got a feeling it's gonna happen again. He been wanting Romo. He'd want him right now. And you understand why? Because Dak is so the thing about Dak, the same thing that's great about him is the worst thing. He's poised, but he don't get out that box. And when he's having bad games or erratic, you know, because you can't run the ball. And Detroit wasn't playing cute. They actually pressed them up. They got physical with them, and they didn't let them get cute. And you ain't got nothing to worry about because Dallas ain't got no running game. Ezekiel Elliott runs like Bubba from Sanford and Son. Have you ever seen Sanford and Son? Yes, yes. He is worse than Romo because in Romo's defense, they were a legit team for years. and they could match up, and they weren't getting waxed like this. When did Tony Romo get it getting waxed by 35 points at the crib? They weren't getting waxed like this. They don't they have no he doesn't get the best out that they because I know that the defense don't care for him. I know that already. He was worse in the clutch, but he was more exciting as a player. Dak's not exciting. They don't get no raw out of Dak. Romo was a more effective with the mental. Dak ain't. A lot of these cats don't like Dak, in case you don't know. Oh yeah, that's the problem with Romo. He wasn't as poised as Dak. See, they each are like peanut butter and jelly. They need something the others got. Dak needed Romo's like hype, and Romo needed Dak's um poise. You put the two together, you might have a quarterback that would give Roger Staubach a run as the GOAT as far as Dallas quarterbacks go. Because they both had the things that they either didn't. The problem with Dak is that he makes so many mistakes and he thinks he can cover it up by stat padding, and he's been allowed to. And he gets a win here and they get excited, but he's not consistent. Oh yeah. That game against the Broncos, that slug out with Peyton Manning. Yep. But he, again, they in the same boat. They in the same boat. Two different flips of the coin. But Romo never had a Cowboys team that was getting slaughtered like this, where 40 was the norm. That did not happen when mm-mm. I remember that game. I remember that game because that was a slugfest. And everything was going good until he threw that bad pick. That was it. But see, Romo can do that though. Dak's problem is like when he played the 49ers and he just throw a couple bad picks and then he just taken out of his game for 2 or 3 quarters. And then all of a sudden they down by 40 points. Then he starts stat padding and they lose by 15. And he's like, yeah, I was making a comeback and I got 358 yards and 2 touchdowns. Of course, Troy's gonna roast him because plus Aikman had came with a lot of weight. Dak did too the first couple years, but Dak got comfortable. Troy had standards. That's the difference. Because he can't figure out why Dak mentally is so inept. That's the problem. Tell a quarterback who figured out how to mentally make himself better, he ain't gonna understand when Dak's got what he's had with him. Dak's had arguably a talented team, may not be as deep as those Cowboy teams were in the 90s, but they were good enough to be better than what they when you win 12 games every year, you got no excuse for being a first round casualty. That's what Troy's trying to say. And somewhere along the line, you got to hold it accountable. So, but I don't care. They stink, and then nobody's complaining. They stink bad. How about them Cowboys? Is all I got to say. It's gonna be a long year. They 3-3. It'll be a long year. They'll get busted up against somebody else again. That's on the coach, though. Yeah, it will. Yeah, it did because the turkey got the bag. It did because he got the bag. He got the bag. Now, and Jerry ain't gonna part with no money, so they're gonna be that's gonna probably end up if unless they decide to make a yeah, I got my old school Bills hat on. It don't make no difference. Aaron Rodgers could be playing in Pluto. They gotta come out and hit some touchdowns. If they don't come out, they gonna get spanked. It could be the end of Aaron Rodgers tonight. We'll see. No, it worked for Dak. It worked for Dak. because Dak got that bag. He caught Jerry at the right time because they don't ha Cooper Rush ain't it, and Trey Lance ain't it, okay? And do they make a move to get Sanders, then they gotta tank. That means they'll have to unload Michael Parsons or somebody next year to afford it. He ain't due for no big game. Don't be saying no mess like that. Don't be saying no mess like that. I ain't trying to hear no mess like that. Let them have a big game when they play the Patriots. Don't be saying no mess like that. Green Bay is good. They're a good team. They can get better. They can get stay healthy, tighten up on the defense, keep the turnovers down. They could definitely be a problem, especially if they're healthy and they keep the turnovers down in the postseason. Because the NFC is open for the one of them teams to come out and win that division. He been exposed. He got exposed last year. He got exposed in college. If you hit him, stride him up, you can hit him. He's got that Andrew Luck disease. He's trying to thread the needle too much, and he ends up throwing bad picks. What you mean the Bears got a defense? Okay, the Bears special teams is good. Jacksonville can't stop nothing. How you figure they shouldn't blow them out? Jacksonville ain't good. They suck. In fact, I'm going on so far as to say I don't know if them and Carolina combined will win 6 games this year. They both it's brutal. Doug Peterson will get another job though. So so we're working with keep on talking because as long as you talk, I'm okay. All the hate I feel around all the hype I feel around Trevor, people were telling me. Well, he looked good in college. I mean, he did win a title with Clemson. He got good size to him. He can throw and he got mobility. I think it was the hair though. No Diddy, but I think it was the hair that they was trying to hype. They wanted him to be like some poster child from the 70s, you know. But the problem is that they started believing the press clippings, and then it happened too soon, and then he got exposed, and then they consequently have fallen off, and they can't recover. It's a ship that's out to sea, and I don't know if it's gonna get back. But I know one thing: it's gonna be his ship to roll because he's looking like a scrub, but they're not gonna let that self check man known as Mac and Cheese Jones in because the options behind Trevor will get your butt fired. Okay, so they stuck with Trevor. Them's the facts. So, yeah, he won the Heisman. They were, you know, but it was a good game. The problem is that Washington is green. They don't play no defense. Snyder ain't got them playing defense. And Lamar did what I call veteran plays, and Derrick Henry they made of what I call it in a veteran plays. Washington played with some spark, but they this ain't Cleveland you're playing. And so they were in awe. They played better in spurts, but they were not on the level of Baltimore. It's one of those kind of things. Yeah, he's the real deal. He's growing before your eyes and he will get better, but they need to get their defense together. They got to run the ball more. They have to, you know, it was just some sloppy young green team trying to play up the big brother. That's what it was like yesterday. I think he'll get there. I think in a couple of years' time, if he stays poised and willing to learn like where he's at. Um, Only when I get into the postseason, I have to see how it translates. But yeah, I'd say yeah. I'd say yeah. Yeah, because he's real poised. I mean, his percentages is legit. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. They just lost to a better team yesterday. That's all. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He reads the field really well, and so I think he can. I think he could. I think he could. Okay. Is that the last of the questions? Because I don't see nobody else coming through, and anybody else out here. Let's see what we got tonight. Things were kind of low tonight, but glad some people did come through. Yeah, Zach Ertz was. Yeah, but Washington is just a young team. That's all. They look pretty good though. You know, and like I said, I have to see how the rest of his year pans out, and then gets to the postseason, we can talk. But I think they got a legit team. I just think that they're on the come up though. But they did look green against Baltimore. But they will be feisty though. Okay. I'm gonna be on for about 8 more minutes because we'll see what people come through. And I know with Monday Night Football, so let's see. Anybody out there? Anybody out there? Feel free to ask questions. If not, I will pull pretty quiet tonight. So okay, I'm gonna be on for a couple more minutes. And I'll either come back later the week towards the end. Glad you came through though. Um, been pretty low key though, so I'll let it sit for another minute. Okay. Well, it looks like it's pretty much gone quiet. No one said anything, so I'm gonna give it 1 more minute, and if I don't hear nothing, I'm gonna pull it out for the night. Get on out, pull out for the night. Well, it's because he didn't get his due, and I understand where he's coming from. Um, he did a lot for the league, and they needed him from the ABA. Here's one thing: he had to take a backseat with Magic and Bird, and then Jordan come along, but they haven't acknowledged him. They've really done a job of trying to push him out the bushes. And so he's just letting it be known that, hey, a lot of what you see I did, which is true. That was just a polite way of trying to diss him. He could shoot. He had a little bit outside shot. But when you're a leaper and you move like he do, but he actually could. He had a bit of a shot. It was a different era though. 3-point line wasn't as rampant. But the fact is he could go in there, he could utilize his skill set. If he can't shoot, how do you become a league MVP? Oh yeah, they could cook today. They could cook easily. Easily. It's just that people don't understand you know, how it is. So that's the sad part. He was at the end. He was big and bloated, and he could give you a moment here and there, but he couldn't give you no whole season. He might be good for depends on who they play against. Depends on who they play against. Um, he was bigger, and he was playing with Nick Van Exel. He wasn't the guy, obviously. And those 4 or 5 years were a big difference. So he was just okay. But he might give you that one game. He did it against Golden State. I remember that game against Golden State. He had a moment, but then they played against the Bulls, and he looked like he was done. The way Dennis Rodman got him. So you know, and that was real different back then too, because you knew scrub scab teams against the elite. He retired he came in for the All-Star game in '92, stopped '91, but he was doing coaching duties in '94, and he came back, and I don't know why he came back for. I mean, I don't talk about some love of the game. I mean, he was a big boy. He came back carrying more weight, and the game had changed. He didn't notice that from the sidelines. I don't know what he think he's gonna do by coming back to play when he coached, 'cause, it changed. Yeah, so I know I'm gonna do this question too. And the answer for me is going to be George Gervin. And I got it on one of my threads coming. So be on the lookout. I'm saying George Gervin. He can score with the best of them. And you got to put him with any of those teams, and he had impact. Harden's going to get that generational because he's league MVP and what he ended up doing, but he just wasn't that leader. And AI has that question. Yeah, because they saw Harden finish behind Steph Curry. I got a video coming up on it. I'm doing my own take on it. That's why people are using that criteria because just like when you talk about Damian Lillard, the guys that were in Steph Curry's shadow, Kyrie Irving in Steph's shadow, what it would have been like. Harden is probably the guy that you come to because he scored in the Euro step and the way he got to the free throw line and all of it. Except his postseason, he was garbage. Most except from a game or two, he sucked and never came up clutch. And that's if we're going by regular season, he might be one of the greatest. You make a strong case if we're going by regular season, but the postseason, yeah. But I gotta say, Iceman for me. I'm gonna do a video about it. I saw it come up. And I was a huge T-Mac fan for his see, these guys are all different. T-Mac had the most incredible skill set of the guys. AI had the ride or die. Harden had the moves. I mean, he manipulated the game like so few that were especially at the guard spot. Reggie Miller kept you in was like theater, and he missed all those 3 pointers. That's what happened. Clay Thompson came up big. Always was something with CP3. Always was something. They had enough to still beat him. Just couldn't make shots. And I don't know because he was in the finals against Milwaukee and how that turned out for him. I don't know how that turned up against when Reggie Jackson stripped him bad when it's OKC. Every time I see CP3 with somebody, it's almost like, uh-oh. So, yeah, Reggie Miller because he was a one-trick pony. That's why. He didn't have to. All he had to do is come off that curl and sweep and hit them threes. You can crack all you want. He could hit them shots and he could come up big. That's the key. Yeah, and that might be and that'll be interesting how they come about, what they do with Paul George and him and all that. It'll be interesting. Okay. So I will be back later in the week and I'm gonna do a whole video. It's coming soon on those small guards because I saw it, shooting guards, and I'll have it released soon. I want to go deep into that. Okay. No BKs, no I don't know what MB's talking about. The Chargers are bad. They beat the Broncos, but I mean, what do you expect? Harbaugh is coming into a situation he has to revamp the culture. He has to hit a reset button with Herbert. They got 3 wins. They are what they are. Let's see. He should. Oh, he doesn't have to. But they need him past the second round. So let him know that. Can he make it past the second round, Joel Embiid? Process, all that. McCarthy should get fired. He should walk in and say, I can't do this. They didn't quit on him. I be telling you when cats quit on coaches, I can sense it. They've quit on him effectively. How many more games and times? And see, the thing is this: Jerry Jones was not giving him the vote of confidence past this year. No way. He's not going to get hyped up. That meathead is done. Stick a fork and a knife. It's done. It's not coming back. Dante didn't want to get traded. He took it personal, and I understand because he fit in New York, and they had the whole. He's a hometown boy, so he didn't really want that to happen. But Tibbs couldn't win with him. Tibbs is not an offensive minded coach, in case you don't know, but he has to play a role to to play in today's game from a analytical perspective. That's why they went after Cat. This ain't because he thinks, and he coached him in Minnesota, but he needs him to win style. How far is your how far is your dumpster from your house or your apartment or where you live? So tell me that, Jay Will. Dante, yeah, so he didn't want to leave New York. And if not, well, that's not hate. Then they can run. Who did they beat? They beat the Las Vegas Raiders. What do you want me to do? Oh, you want a 2 block parade? No one is scared of the Steelers. Are you better than Baltimore? Are you better than Kansas City? Are you better than Buffalo? Are you better than Houston? I got 4 teams that I can put money on that I think they're gonna wax you. I'm glad to see that, of course. But you can't say I'm hating on the guy when I don't think they can beat those 4. I don't think they can beat those 4. I think Tomlin can coach them up, but they're not that good of a team. They're this it's just they need a receiver. Yeah, they beating the Dallas last week. Then maybe, but they're not, they'll beat up on joke chump teams, but are they elite? No. I don't know about that. They better sweep Cincinnati and Cleveland, then you got hope. They beat the Chargers, they beat the Raiders. The Broncos, KC, so they gotta win more. Uh, I don't know. I don't know about no 10 plus. I'd say 10 if he's lucky. I don't know about no 10 plus. I'm not sold on them like that. Yeah, and they're a 4-2 team that are they as good as the teams I mentioned? Are they as good as Houston? Are they as good as Kansas City? Are they good as Buffalo? Are they as good as Baltimore? So you can sit here and tell me all this stuff. Are they on their? Do you put them in the same level with them? If you don't, then we got no more to talk about. Okay, I like Mike Tomlin a lot. I think Tomlin, after Andy Reid, is probably my favorite coach going. But I don't see Pittsburgh as no contender. I'm not sold on them like that. I'm not. And they're not as good as Minnesota, Detroit, or Green Bay. I don't know about against Chicago, but three of them teams they're not better than. I know about what Watts is doing. I understand that. But I'm not sold on them though. Gotta see them against more elite teams before I could even put them there. They gotta sweep Cincinnati, they gotta sweep Cleveland, and they gotta, deal with Baltimore. And they didn't beat nobody yesterday. So before you start throwing your chest out like Popeye or Brutus, they ain't beat nobody yesterday. Don't get some people get excited when you be beating up on some bum teams like, oh, they beat the Raiders. Supposed to, you know. I like Fields, but I tend to really see them as a threat, they gotta show me something with consistency. And they're gonna have to make a statement win. So biggest surprise this year outside of the Vikings, to me, it would be logical to say Washington, you would kind of think. Uh, I gotta say, I'm gonna go in left field. No one's gonna say it. The team that I said, are they the best team in the field? I gotta say the Detroit Lions. And I'm gonna tell you why. The way they lost to the 49ers, uh, they are impressing me to come back with that kind of statement. So I'm impressed by what I'm seeing with that. I think that's probably outside of Minnesota. I'd say them. I really would. I think Detroit showed me a lot with that. I hope not, because Terrell Pryor's NFL career didn't last that long. And they tried to turn him into a flanker and everything. And further along means what? Is he playoff bound? Is that team going to win the NFC East? He had no choice to be switched. They don't let black quarterbacks. If you were athletic like that, that was kind of the norm. I have to bust the bubble in here, Jay Will. You were talented, but that's not why that was the case. That was mainly his main option. Wasn't that long ago. Because a certain guy named Bill Polian wanted that for Lamar Jackson. So when you're a black quarterback and you're athletic, they will throw that out there. So yes, you have to be versatile, and yes, you have to be multifaceted, and you can play safety and corner, and you can, but that don't necessarily mean you want to. That means that's the only way you'll get your behind on the field to play professional football. I want Fields to stay as a quarterback. Don't get switched. I don't know if I'm going to go that far about Jaden Daniels. I mean, it's a different type of era. In 5 years, it's different. They used him for a lot because he wasn't a legit quarterback. That's right. Cordell Stewart, Did all that because he wasn't a legit quarterback. They still ran it through Neil O'Donnell. And being flash is what I've said about Miami Dolphins doesn't lead you to nowhere. You're talented enough to be versatile, but you came to be a quarterback. You didn't come to be Houdini. You didn't come to be the juggler at the circus. So you're either gonna be the quarterback or you won't. No, he didn't. And I remember that 40 years ago. He had an arm on him too. That cat could throw some deep passes. It wasn't that long ago. I tell it all the time. Cats are just seeing, they think this is the norm. It's not. Wasn't always like this. And then that's why with Jalen Hurts and Mahomes were the first two black quarterbacks to start in the Super Bowl. That should tell you something right there. So anyway, that's what's going on with that. I wasn't big on Cordell Stewart. I thought he had some moments. I remember it in college when he beat Michigan with that pass 30 years ago. I remember that. But he never got a chance to really, because he was a mobile quarterback. They did Tommy Frazier just like they did um, uh, 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 whatchamacallit that played for the New York Knicks. Same way. Bradshaw wasn't better than Joe Gilliam. He thought he was surprised he got the job in Pittsburgh. Yeah, because he had the greatness. He had a great squad around him. He had Swan and Stallworth. The best thing I'll say about Bradshaw is that he could take a beating and he played tough, but he was never seen as that quarterback. No, rings don't always count for the same as they do for all people. He's a great example of it. He heaved a lot of passes, but he had a great squad around him. So that's a fact. We never looked at Bradshaw like we did Starbuck or with Montana or with Brady or with Mahomes, you know, or Peyton Manning for that matter, or Johnny Unitas. Yeah, Elway was too. Because you figure if you give those guys, if you give Elway or Franco Harris or Rocky Blau and Swan Stallworth, he probably had about 5, 6 rings too. So better than McMahon though, because he did stay healthy and he could take shots and he took a lot of shots and he, you know, but McMahon came along, again, the gimmicks. Bradshaw could take shots though. Fouts was better. Bradshaw knew that he wasn't better than Joe Gilliam, but Joe Gilliam had some issues, and also he was a black quarterback at the time. It's a lot of politics. But Bradshaw then cashed it in. Think about it. He wins 4 rings and no one. He was a bum. There was no borderline with me. I got to see him play. He went to San Diego when he played with the Chargers. He was self-checked. He hit some passes with his was it Willie Galt, Walter Payton. He did his job. So all he had to do was basically be a game manager with style. And he was like a precursor to Brian Bosworth in the NFL. Had a lot of style. He was great in college, you know. And he had facade to him. But no, he played with the right situation. But there wasn't much to him though. And Dick couldn't stand him, so that's what's up. Testaverde. Chad had a moment, but Vinny got better over time. Took Vinny about 30 years, but he got better. Only when he beat the Colts, when he that's the only thing that Pennington's known for. Vinny got better. Vinny's also the reason why they have the instant replay because Vinny pounded the pavement against the Seahawks. He was stopped short cold on that 4th and 1 and gave him the touchdown. Vinny got better over time. Took him a long time though, but I take him over Pennington though. But that ain't saying much though. Of course, you're gonna take Bradshaw. And that's I don't want to put just anybody up against anybody because that's just an insult. Kosar was a better scripted quarterback, but he didn't have the heights, and it's not fair. So I'm not gonna no. You gotta ask me Bernie Kosar against Brian Sipe or Bernie Kosar against uh I think of somebody, but not that. Of those three, Jeff George, but he was a headache and a half, and he just arrogant and smug. Crazy throw. Kosar Ken Anderson. I'd say Ken Anderson because he did lead the team to a Super Bowl. Culpepper could throw deep on the routes. Cutler had the makings to being a great quarterback, bad attitude. Culpepper was streaky. Jeff George had a natural talent. He's like Josh Allen. His arm strength was ridiculous. Just didn't want to listen. And Cutler should have been a great quarterback. Like it was a parts of both of them. That's a great three arms that you mentioned there. And all three of them were wasted in different ways. Pretty much. And then the problem with Cutler is that his attitude was stank. He just didn't love the game. For me, it's Rod Woodson, but I did like Revis a lot. But Woodson, if you talk about Daryl Green and you talk about Dion, Woodson doesn't. Revis covered well, but Woodson's speed and he's underappreciated in those kickoff return too. Yeah, Cutler just was frustrating. That's all. That's all. Yeah, I remember. I remember. I'm gonna go in about a couple minutes, so I'm getting ready to get myself hyped up for this game. He asked me out of Brian Dawkins and John Lynch, who I would take. I'm gonna probably give it to Dawkins. I like Lynch's hitting better, but Brian Dawkins moving more. Champ Bailey Reeves. Champ moved me a little bit more. A little bit more. I gotta go with Champ. I still remember that game when the Patriots played the Broncos. Champ was not the dude. It was like a Dion. Uh, it was like Dion and Daryl Green said. It was like Dion. You didn't throw a Champ. Yep. I said be dog. But Lynch could hit though. He could play. He should be the Jerry West of GMs, but he ain't. For me, it's Ty Law. That bump coverage was sweet. He had Peyton Manning figured out. Sherman was bad for a window, but Ty Law was a rule back there. The way they used to go against the they had to change the rules too. That's why they got Manning up out the ASCs. They could not deal with Ty Law. Ty Law and them were bumping, getting physical with him, and picking pockets. Because to me, Sherm was great, but well, T.O. cooked a lot of people, but Champ was a bad boy though. He was bad. Yeah, I'm giving it to Ty Law. I like Sherm, but Ty Law, I remember what he could do, you know, especially that first three run. And his was clean too. So anyway, I'm gonna get ready to call it a night and get ready for the game. Appreciate everything. Appreciate everybody coming through questions, Q&A. Great to see Jay Will T, everybody. And okay, I'll answer one before I go. It's debatable. He could get in. They gonna make him wait. They gonna make him wait. They gonna make him wait. I like Neil Smith a lot. I like Judas Pepper's Upside, but Neil Smith was bad. I probably give Neil Smith the slight because he was bad and he doesn't get talked about near enough. All Star should probably get in, but if they don't let him in, it's because it's something that they just don't. They're gonna use something against him, but he should get some consideration. But we need luck against the Jets. We suck. That's what I'm gonna say. We should beat them. Don't beat them. A lot of trouble. Anyway, I'll catch you though. Appreciate everybody. Stay safe, stay blessed. Thanks for all for coming through. I'll come back later during the week and I'm working on some videos. I'll catch you. Peace out. Stay safe. Right on. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.